Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. I also see you guys on Twitter. Name me your football hot take and I will react to it for a video. And as you can see, we have 178 comments. This comment section will be made into 2 videos of me reacting to your football hot takes because it's just way too many and the video will be way too long. Better jump into it with the first 91s. Dembele to PSG was the most influential transfer of this decade. Huge statement right there. I think we strictly got to look at the big clubs. I don't care if a player has been impactful at Leicester City, mid-table Premier League. We're looking at the big clubs. So let's take a look at Barca. Who is their most influential player of this decade? Transfer, obviously. So it can't be, a Yamal coming through the academy. I think Pedri, more seasons will be seen as heavily, insanely influential at Barca. Apart from that, I can't really think of a big name. Real Madrid, you got Vinicius Jr., but again, Madrid had 13 UCLs, now they have 15. Huge difference in the influentiality. Bayern, Lewandowski to Bayern. Did win a UCL with them at the end. I think that's a very influential one. But I'm going to still give it to them, Boos. Why not? I can't think of many others. There's probably some in the Premier League. You got Van Dijk to Liverpool. Won the UCL, won the Prem. And then Dembele at PSG. You got Dembele. You got Vitinha, but Dembele won a Ballon d'Or. The only issue with Dembele, this is now his 3rd season at the club. That's where we've seen, as I've mentioned, Van Dijk and other players, long time at clubs and so on. Could be true. This hot take could be true. Ruiz is better than Rice. This is not a hot take. Look, I didn't watch the Arsenal Bayern game. I haven't even watched the comp. I've watched the highlights and so on. And obviously Rice, I saw him get the man of the match. So I don't know how good he was in that game. And I don't know exactly how good he's been this season. But no matter how good he's been, he's not better than Fabio Ruiz. He's not been better than Fabio Ruiz this season. And he's not a better player than Fabio Ruiz. Fabio Ruiz is actually one of the most underrated players in the world. They always talk about Vitinha and João Neves, but you rarely see non-PSG fans. Even PSG fans talk about Ruiz as much as Vitinha and Neves, which is a bit unfortunate. Like in the recent Spurs game, I definitely think Vitinha deserves the most recognition, but you barely hear that much about Fabio Ruiz, who had a spectacular match. It's not a hot take, but position. Did Jude play at BVB? Was it in the middle or up front? My hot take is that people need to stop comparing Hakimi with Trent. Hakimi sit alone at the table currently and probably will for a long time to come. I do agree that the Hakimi-Trent comparison should never make any sense, especially when you take in longevity. When you look at peak, Trent had his, 18, 19, 20 peak season, and then you have Hakimi basically last season. But it's the consistency. Trent, you mentioned 1, 2, maybe 3 seasons. Hakimi is basically his entire career. His years at Dortmund, his year at Inter, and his years so far at Paris Saint-Germain. This is an all-timer we're talking about soon. Won the African Ballon d'Or as well. Finished 6th in the Ballon d'Or. It's not a debate. I don't know. I didn't watch Jude at BVB. I watched him twice, though. It was versus Chelsea in the UEFA Champions, and he absolutely stunk it up. And I don't remember exactly what position he played, but he was completely irrelevant and garbage. So I knew about that when he came to Madrid, that this dude is a PR merchant. All right, we got some here. 1. Hansi Flick's kamikaze ball has fully ruined Kubarsi's career. Also, he's playing all the time at the wrong position. That's actually a good, valid opinion. I think Kubarsi, his best time, still probably Xavi's time. Now it's a bit too much crazy, and he's being put in very dangerous situations. But I don't want to make Kubarsi too much into a victim. If we strictly go off the recent Chelsea game, Estevao absolutely cooking and going through Kubarsi. Like Kubarsi is not there. Is not really Hansi Flick offside trap fall, kamikaze ball. I remember once Kubarsi was on the side, Pedro Neto was running with the ball. He just put the ball in front of him and paced through Kubarsi like it wasn't there. Once again, that's not Hansi Flick kamikaze ball. So I do agree in some sense that kamikaze ball not just for Kubarsi, but exposes the defenders, obviously, and puts them in many disadvantaged positions. But I also think that Kubarsi has been exposed a lot, especially in 2025, towards the end of last season and so far this season. And he's just going through bad form. Juan Garcia is the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment. Flick should thank him and Pedri for saving his job. 173,628 times this season. I don't think Juan Garcia is yet the best goalkeeper in the world, but he's definitely up there already, despite missing a huge chunk of games so far this season. Kang has been our best right winger this season. He's been better than Barcola, Kvara, and Mbappe on the right side. That's not the worst take. The thing with Kang Lee, I want to say, it's been recent form. I've seen a lot of Kang fans say, oh, this entire season. I would disagree with that. Obviously, you have the huge goal, beautiful goal as well, versus Spurs in the UEFA Super Cup early on this season. But I haven't seen the continuity of those Kang Lee performances so far this season that strongly. But Barcola, Kvara, and Mbappe haven't been that. Kvara, I will give him, he had the Atalanta man of the match performance. Barcola, I would guess excellent man of the match performance. I don't know. Our attack has been mid. All of the players that have been available. And Mbappe, fair to him, is only 17, but all of them gotta improve still, but happy with Kang's level. Mbappe is the highest peak of the 21st century. No. 21st century means from 2000 until now 2025, and he doesn't. I mean, what's Mbappe's peak? Mbappe's peak is in the World Cups, in a 1 month tournament. So no, that's not the highest peak of the 21st century. If we take 21-22 Mbappe, that's his prime, that's his peak. That season. Yeah, that's one of the best peaks I've seen. That's one of the best, like, one seasons. A player in one season, how good he is. Like that Mbappe, if I was a defender, I would never want to play him. That's even somewhat scarier than Messi and Ronaldo. Because that running in behind, I mean, you're never going to catch up. When it comes to Messi, you may, if you're really lucky, you may get a tackle and get the ball from Messi. But Mbappe, with that pace and athleticism, I mean, you could be the quickest player there is. You're not going to catch up to Mbappe. So I do think 21-22, which is Mbappe's peak, is one of the scariest peak of the 21st century. But not the highest. I have to be honest here. Never be fooled by Amorim. Bruno Fernandes would start for any club in the world. Again, I don't think it's an Amorim thing. Bruno Fernandes has had many questionable performances, and people have questioned his ability as well, even before Ruben Amorim came in. So I don't really think, Amorim is making United look worse, which makes Bruno look worse. I know that Bruno cooked in the recent international break for Portugal, and that's why many people think of that opinion. But before that, Bruno was quite mid with Portugal. At the Euros, he wasn't the best. Even in the Nations League, I think he was decent to good, but there were other better players than him. Would he start for any club in the world? I don't think so. I don't think he'd start for PSG. Ooh, Barca is a cheeky one. Because you got Fermin with a lot of cheeky form this season. Olmo scored a brace in his recent game, I think, but still trying to get to that consistent level, if you know. Maybe Barca. Madrid. Yeah, I think his experience, I think Xabi, at least for this season, would rather have a Bruno than a Güler. Just let Güler grow a little bit. Bayern, ahead of Musiala, no. City, no. Liverpool, nah, out of Wirtz. Yeah, he wouldn't start for any club in the world. Arsenal is going to flop. Simply, they have good defense, yes, but set pieces can only get you so far. The worrying thing, it's getting them extremely far. Obviously, still, you can still say it's the beginning of the season. When we go into 2026, that's when we'd see if it's more consistent. But for me, the biggest thing with the Premier League isn't are Arsenal going to flop. It's more who's going to catch up to them. And I think today is going to answer that question. The Chelsea-Arsenal game still hasn't been played for me whilst recording this video. So I think, well, strictly when it comes to the Premier League, I think that just nobody will catch up to them because they haven't been consistently good. When it comes to the Champions League, I don't think Arsenal will win the Champions League, especially with them putting everything into the Premier League so far this season. So I think I don't think they're gonna flop, In the Champions League, they're not going to win it. But in the Premier League, just don't see anyone catching up. If Solskjaer was still United manager and got his DM, United would be one of the top teams in the world right now. Look, when it comes to United, I know a little bit, but I don't know too much. So I'm not going to go too much into this opinion, even though Solskjaer football was good, but would never be able to win trophies and take United to the promised land. Because the issue with United, it's not the manager, it's not the players. I mean, they could be the problems, but the major problem in United has always been the board. It's been those Zionists, the Glazers, the Ratcliffe. Guess what? Both follow. Those have been the problem at Manchester United, sucking out money. I think, the Glazers, they have like a NFL team in America, and they take out loans through Manchester United to pay for stuff there. It's insane because they can take out a lot of debt from United. I mean, it's hard for a club to reach the pinnacle of football and become one of the top teams in the world if they're doing stuff like that. And then it's also the mentality United. So I disagree with this. I don't think Solskjaer staying and getting his DM would have changed that much. Liga is the top 3 best leagues in the world. Probably. I'll put it easily above probably Serie A. And I don't know, man. It's so weird. Serie A I still like Serie A. It's so vintage, has a lot of good teams as well, but just the money. And same thing goes for obviously in La Liga. So yeah, I'll probably agree with that. Maybe even put it top 2 out of the Bundesliga. And then obviously a huge distance up to the Premier League. I don't think PSG fans shouldn't be so hard on Gonzalo Ramos. The amount of times he's gotten a clutch goals for you. Spurs, Barca, Nice, just this season. And I think you're valid. I'm someone that's always been very harsh and critiqueful on Gonzalo Ramos. But I think it was after the Nice game. That's when I was like, you know what? Look, let's accept his level. Because one issue for me with Gonzalo before is that a lot of people lied about Gonzalo, saying he was a good player. And I had to prove to them that he wasn't a good player for like 2 years. Now, though, basically every single Paris Saint-Germain supporter has accepted Gonzalo Ramos is not the best. He's not that dude. He's not that guy. So I don't have to do it anymore, and I should just appreciate the small positive amount that Gonzalo Ramos gives this club. And you're right, he has given us important victories this season. Neymar's closer to Ronaldo than Ronaldo is to Messi. I mean, I put Neymar second ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo, but obviously I think it's really close between them, and then you got Messi. So yeah, I do agree with that. Pedri is better than Jude. Yes. PSG fell off. No. Barcelona will win the UCL. Barca could win the UCL. Let's see how the season goes. Because when it comes to Barca, I still see a high ceiling this season, which they aren't that close to maybe at the moment. But I still see a high ceiling if they can reach that ceiling. Yamal or Pedri, Ballon d'Or. Obviously, if the thing is, Yamal or Pedri doesn't really work. It's Yamal. If Barca do well, Yamal's going to get the PR. If Spain does well, Yamal's going to get the PR. So Pedri has 0% chance of winning the Ballon d'Or. It's a little bit similar to, Messi. Iniesta and Xavi never got their hands on a Ballon d'Or because of Lionel Messi. I don't know, players at Madrid never got their hands on a Ballon d'Or because of Cristiano Ronaldo. I think with Messi, for example, Xavi and Iniesta, it's because he was so much better. I mean, Messi's Messi. When it comes to Yamal, Pedri, it's PR. There's so many games where Pedri is clearly Barca best, most important, most crucial player, but still Yamal that gets most applauded because he's 18 and he's an attacker and all of that. So Pedri has a 0% chance of winning a Ballon d'Or as long as he's on the same team as that PR leech. I mean, the thing that would happen is Yamal would have to be injured or really bad, so bad that even the casuals can't, find a way around it. Pedri versus Vitinha midfield statistical comparison. Expected goals, expected assists, progressive carries, tackles, interceptions. I would say the biggest explanation to this is just how used Pedri is at FC Barcelona. Pedri is basically the metronome. He does everything at FC Barcelona. So, yeah, he does more. Not more than Vitinha, but yeah, he maybe does more because Paris Saint-Germain have actual midfielders next to Vitinha. Vitinha can just chill sometimes, just give it to Fabian, give it to Neves, give them the responsibility. But Barca, Pedri turns around, sees Ding Dong, I don't know, just there. He sees Olmo, he sees Gavi, he sees Casado. Only one Fermin, he's like, okay, I can pass you the ball. So, but no, shout out to Pedri, I like him, but does this prove that he's better than Vitinha? Absolutely no. Bayern are still winning every trophy possible. Also, Data is a dumbass. I don't know who Data is. Maybe Dayot Upamecano. Is that far stretched? Bayern could still win, I mean, Bundesliga. I think so. Actually, when it comes to DFB Pokal, from what I know, Bayern haven't won it in the past like 4 years. I know they won it definitely in 1920 when they won the treble and the sextuple. So maybe they haven't won it since then, maybe the year after, because they've been getting knocked out in like early rounds. So I think that's a tough competition for Bayern mentally to win. So DFB Pokal, Bundesliga. We only got the UCL left. Will they win the UCL? We'll see. I have them predicted to play Paris Saint-Germain in the finals. So, I mean, that's quite close. So, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I think Vitinha is a country mile better than Pedri. I'm not saying that as a Madrid fan. I genuinely believe that. Again, when it comes to players at the top, I don't think anyone is country miles better than anyone. I think us as fans, we like to say that, oh, he's clear. This dude is clear. It's very hard to be clear of someone when all of them are at the top of their game. I do think Vitinha is a better player than Pedri, but I don't think it's country mile. I don't think he's clear, better, and all of that. I think two very good players, but one slightly better. Endrick's more talented than Yildiz Yamal Estevao. He just needs more minutes to prove it. He has the biggest ceiling. I think he has the biggest ceiling potentially in terms of GA, with him being more central and more as a striker, secondary striker than the three of them. But I don't think... when you look at Endrick, Palmeiras comps, Estevao Palmeiras comps, Yamal, I don't know, early Barca days comps, and Yildiz early Juve days comps, I don't think Endrick showed as much footballing impact as the other three. All of them basically number 10s as well. That's basically the best position. Endrick is, I don't know, baby R9. We'll see. Endrick has to leave for this to be proven, and I don't like these ifs and buts. I'll have to wait and see. But obviously, you probably have stocks in Endrick, and you want to say, no, I truly believe in him. And it's not the worst take. I do think that Endrick is a very talented footballer. It's just very unfortunate, his situation at Madrid at the moment. But he should get a loan in January, and we should get at least half of an answer to your statement right here. Marquinhos is easily one of the best centre-backs of the generation. Despite a few mistakes in the end, he captained us to a UCL win. One of the most decorated players ever, Copa America, Libertadores. Consistently good, versatile leadership, quick, has scored crucial goals and gave all for us. I don't like the captained us to the UCL when he was the least impactful player in that Champions League squad. I mean, the PSG players were basically carrying Marquinhos to that Champions League win. Like, when you say captained, it was like, I don't know, Thiago Silva in the 1920 run. He captained us to that final. Marquinhos, he was just there, man. And I don't want to degrade him. I'm just honest. I don't like people that lie about players and Marquinhos' name or whoever it is. Best centre-backs of this generation. Okay, so let's see who we put above. For Madrid, I'll put Sergio Ramos. I'll put Pepe. No Varane. So we got two. Barca. Does Puyol count as this generation? If he does, yes. And Piqué. That's it. Yeah, that's it from Barca. Mascherano. That's actually a tight one, I think. Mascherano and Marquinhos is a tight one. Keep it on hold. Bayern. Boateng. No, I'm going to give it to Marquinhos. Mats Hummels. I may give it to Mats Hummels. Then you got Diego Godin, Atletico Madrid as well. I'm going to give it to him. Then, again, Prime Generation. John Terry. Ferdinand. Not Company. I'll put Marquis. And then Van Dijk. It's like 9-10 centre-backs. I don't know if that counts as one of the best centre-backs of the generation. So I think I disagree with that. Palmer would be the greatest English player. I think Cole Palmer is in a good trajectory to retire as the greatest English player of all time. He's still young. I think a lot of it depends on Chelsea as well. I think if he's going to stay at Chelsea, Chelsea need to start competing and winning the big trophies, the Premier League, the Champions League and so on. That's what's going to elevate him. Maybe Palmer leaves Chelsea. Maybe he does a Beckham, goes to a non-English side and wins there. And I could see Palmer, maybe stay at Chelsea in like 26 and then, I don't know, go to Madrid, Barca, PSG or something and accomplish something huge, because when an Englishman does it outside of England, it's much bigger with most English players, obviously remaining in the Premier League. Will he retire as the greatest English player? Could happen. I think a lot of it has to do with England as well. England has only won one trophy in his entire history, which was the World Cup in 1956, something like that, with Bobby Moore, obviously. Since then, they've never won anything. So if Palmer, is England's best player in a tournament and they win the World Cup or the Euros, which they've been close to winning recently, that would definitely elevate his status a lot. I mean, who is now the greatest English player? Rooney? Could be someone like older, but like from our time, probably Rooney. Kane. Yeah, I don't think it's that hard for Palmer to eclipse any of the two. If Ansu Fati played football in the 1960s, he would have been one of the GOATs. No. Hakim is the best right back of all time. Not yet. I want to push it, but not yet. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. His time will come. I mean, he's what, 27? Just going to have more beautiful years ahead of him. Leonard Colt is the best talent in the world. Better than Yamal and arguably Damen. Damen, yeah, for sure, because Damen hasn't shown it. I mean, I've seen some under 15 comps and friendly preseason games and coming out last 20 minutes. He got to do way more to be compared to Leonard Colt, who scored in a big Champions League game versus Arsenal, been scoring some other bangers here and there. And Yamal, come on, let's be honest here, come on. Let's be serious. Yamal's been playing top football for the past 2-3 years. He's not going to be compared to Leonard Colt for scoring a screamer versus Club Brugge and scoring a tap-in versus Arsenal. Come on, man. Vitinha needs to go to Madrid or Arsenal to rank up there with Pirlo, Modric and Xavi when he's done with his career. If he doesn't make the move, then he has to do serious, impressive things like win 3 UCLs would be crucial in World Cup years to win for Portugal. I mean, you say, wait. I read through that quickly. I thought he said Madrid, Barca. It's the common generic one. It's also the two clubs that have the most PR, but I just saw Arsenal. Okay. Wait. I need to, I don't know, mentally go through what I just read. Let's change it for Barca, though. The first thing is you say Vitinha needs to go to a Madrid Barca-esque club to rank up there with these guys. But then you say if he doesn't leave, he would have to compensate that by winning this. You do know that these players won this at those clubs? What we're banking on, what Vitinha is banking on, is that he will do what these players did at their club with Paris Saint-Germain. Maybe a few years ago you would have said, oh, Mbappe or this player needs to leave PSG because they've never won a UCL. And if he wants to be acknowledged with the best players that have won a couple of UCLs, you got to go to a club where you can win a couple of UCLs. But there is no better place to be in to win a couple of UCLs than Paris Saint-Germain. Yes, Vitinha wins it there, he will get more PR. We've seen Jude Bellingham. He had an average season in the UCL that year, and I was hearing Zidane stuff and finished 4th in the Ballon d'Or. I mean, Vitinha still finished 3rd in the Ballon d'Or, so it just shows that you can win a Ballon d'Or at PSG, you can get the PR, you can get the appreciation. So I think what Vitinha and every PSG player will do, they will change the narrative. Instead of you need to, as a PSG player, maybe you have to go to Barca and Real to do it all the way. No, you can go to Paris Saint-Germain. We're the top echelon of football. You don't got to leave Paris Saint-Germain. You can't upgrade from Paris Saint-Germain in 2025. You can only downgrade. So, yeah. The gap between Neymar and Ronaldo for the second best generation is way less than the gap between Messi, Ronaldo, and other one in current football is that Arsenal will get knocked out around 16 UCL this season. I don't think they're going to get knocked out in the round of 16 this season in UCL as long as they don't face a really tough team. Like when Liverpool faced Paris Saint-Germain last season. And I don't... Yeah, maybe Arsenal could potentially face Barca. If Barca face, don't finish in the top 8 maybe. But yeah, unlikely. Yeah, and I've already answered this before. I do think the gap between Neymar. I mean, I think Neymar is better than Ronaldo, but I think they're close to each other than when it comes to Messi. This isn't a hot take as such. I did want to ask: is there any reason why you don't like Jude Bellingham? I say he isn't good or something you don't like about him? Is his ego's attitude, or is something on the pitch because he's one of the best 10s in the world? So it's two stuff. First of all, is his footballing ability. I think he thinks he's much better than what he is. I think most people that talk fondly of Bellingham, especially Madrid fans, have I don't know what view they have of Jude Bellingham. I think he's a very inconsistent player. I think he's a player that shows elite moments in very rare circumstances. Like, I don't see it that often where I'm going to be putting him against the best players in the world and so on. One of the best 10s in the world. I mean, it's not even the worst take because there aren't that many 10s and there aren't that many good 10s. Like, who's the best 10? Musiala better than Jude. You see, what 10s are there? I think Olmo on his day is better than Jude, but I would guess I would give it to Jude now. Even though he's been mid, he just almost been disastrous. And then when it comes to Bellingham as a person, yeah, I mean, I always follow a pattern, and there's a clear pattern that Jude Bellingham is spoiled. His parents didn't give him a good upbringing to become a human. They gave him a good upbringing to become a football player, to become a PR merchant, to become a robot, basically. And that's why he's so unauthentic. That's what people dislike about Jude Bellingham. He's very unauthentic. He does what, the camera wants to see instead of doing what he wants to do. He's not acting like himself. He's acting like Jude Bellingham, which is very unauthentic, and I don't like unauthentic people. And I think most people do that too. You know what? That finishes it off. 2 more parts will come out of me reacting to hot takes, and who knows, this might actually become a series. It was actually fun to record, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and shout out to you that put in the questions, and happy to have answered your football and hot takes. That's been it from boy PSGINT. Make sure to tune in for part 2, and as usual, allez Paris.